For many people, the battle with the scale is a simple equation. Excess fat is the enemy and it must be eradicated. But this widespread assumption is misleading. In fact, it's a very obstacle preventing most people from achieving their weight loss goals. How so? Well, in this video, I'll show you how excess body fat is not the problem and why you should stop trying to lose weight. Sound crazy? Well, I'll point out the flaws in this mindset and suggest a better one that's based on my decades of experience as both a trainer and a nutritionist. It's a way of thinking that's far more effective and one that actually works for getting lean for good. And considering that more people than ever are struggling to lose weight, it's probably worth hearing me out on this. And to do that, we first need to take a closer look at what most people do when it comes to getting in shape and why this so often fails. Although having good intentions, the mistake most people make when they decide to get in shape is they think of all the things that they can do to make that a reality. They think of joining a gym, increasing their step count, starting a new training program, or purchasing the latest fitness equipment. There is nothing inherently bad with any of these things. However, there is a major flaw in all these approaches. Most of these measures are doomed to fail because they all address the symptom, the excess body fat, without addressing the cause of the problem, the bad eating habits. And what causes bad eating habits? Well, we'll get to this soon, but for now, I want you to recognize the faulty logic and the misdirected attention towards the symptoms. If you currently have exercise equipment that's gathering dust, or a gym membership that you don't use as often as intended, you can attest that these measures fail to resolve your problem and were instead attempts wrongly aimed at your symptoms. Again, I'm not trying to deter anyone from moving more or working out regularly. However, if you're out of shape and you don't address your nutrition, the hard truth is that you're going to try to dedicate hours upon hours to exercising with very little to show for it. What we eat is the main mechanism by which we gain weight and also the main mechanism by which we lose it. You don't get fat by osmosis. Sure, there might be some people who gain excess weight because of their medication, their hormonal status, and inability to exercise, or a lack of access to quality food. However, none of these people can gain weight without food, and if you starve them, they would all lose weight. Which I'm not advising, by the way. It's the many and not the rare few that I'm addressing in this video, and I'm simply illustrating how food is the main mechanism for weight gain. Food puts the weight on, and food takes the weight off. However, most of us fall into the trap of over-focusing on exercise. And this is because we mistakenly believe that we know what the problem is, because we can easily identify the places that we don't have what we want, i.e. a leaner body. We easily associate the problems with the things we don't have and mistakenly think that we just have to do something with the symptoms and they'll go away. To understand this better, think of it as the difference between asking yourself what I can do to lose all of this excess fat instead of why am I so badly out of shape. The problem is the excess consumption of the wrong type of foods, and its symptom is the excess body fat. Thus, only a dedicated focus to rectifying the bad eating habits will eliminate the excess body fat. If you think you can out-train a bad diet, you're in for a rude shock. Exercise is vastly inferior for fat loss and requires a lot more effort to maintain over time. If you have fat to lose and want to keep it off longer term, the solution predominantly lies in what you eat. Focus on the food, and you'll be surprised by how little training is actually required for a leaner and healthier body. Not to mention how much time and heartache you'll save yourself in the process. If you're currently kicking yourself for focusing on the symptom and not the cause of your weight gain, don't worry. I'll soon show you a simple thing you can do to avoid making this mistake in the future. Also, realize too that it's not just an error in thinking when it comes to nutrition, it's also quite prevalent in other areas of life. Here are some other common attempts at addressing the symptoms and not the problems that I've discovered both personally and in my many years of coaching clients. Symptom: going to bed late and being tired the next day. Often wrongly tackled by setting multiple alarms or relying on caffeine to stay awake during the day. The problem is often too many things going on or coming up the next day. The problem is solved by better stress management and planning. Symptom: overworking. Often wrongly tackled by working longer hours to meet deadlines or achieve goals. The problem is often poor time management or unrealistic expectations. The problem is solved with smarter planning and more realistic completion times. Symptom: procrastination. Often wrongly tackled by forcing oneself to work without breaks or leisure time. The problem is often delaying tasks because of an underlying fear of failure, perfectionism, and/or a lack of motivation. The problem is solved by addressing the underlying negative emotions such as fear and anxiety. Symptom: overeating. This is often wrongly tackled by crash dieting or restricting food intake. The problem is often turning to food for comfort to deal with stress and negative emotions, or even to create positive ones. The problem is solved by addressing the underlying emotional or psychological issues. If you're struggling with a perpetual problem, it's likely you're dealing with the symptoms. To find and address the cause of your problems, you need to deploy some quality thinking time and ask yourself this simple but very penetrating question: what am I not seeing? If you do this regularly, you'll start to identify your symptoms, see your true problems, and think of actual solutions. And when it comes to problems, often we're our own worst enemies because we create them for ourselves. Here are some common problems we create for ourselves with our nutrition. We blame ourselves for eating crappy food in our cupboards and our fridges, but never make any efforts to stop buying the crappy foods in the first place. We do lots of emotional eating, but never give adequate attention to our emotional state. We overspend and buy way too much food, but never care to read nutrition labels or menus closely. We complain about giving in to social pressures, but never set any social standards. We complain about all the unhealthy food on the market at a time in history when there's never been better access to so many alternative foods. We spend so much of our lives eating, but spend so little time learning about what we're actually putting into our bodies. The truth is that good nutritional habits can take years to form. Don't be under the false impression that you can just out-exercise a bad diet. As you get older, your exercise capacity goes down, not up. So it's best to work on your nutritional habits sooner rather than later. If you want to learn where to start with this, I encourage you to watch this other video of mine where I go over the easy way and the hard way to get in shape. Remember, being overweight is not the problem. It's a symptom of a bigger problem. So to solve it, stop asking yourself what you can do to lose weight and instead ask yourself what put the weight on in the first place. We all fall into this faulty way of thinking, so do share this video with other people you know who are trying to lose weight. That's all from me. Go and get thinking before doing, and I'll see you next time.